Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, we start with a look at the influenza epidemic of 1918. Then join us for an outdoors segment about antelopes and their connection to the state. Next, we'll have a story about the life and legacy of Amelia Erhardt, and then we'll have a look at buffalo gourds, followed by a poem from Ron Wilson. And we'll end with a look at Harry Colmery. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome to Kansas, gateway to...
Kansas is often considered to be ground zero for the 1918 pandemic, according to the flu.gov website. In late January and early February of 1918, a local physician in Haskell County noticed a rash of severe influenza cases. Although the physician had seen many cases of influenza throughout his career, these cases were extraordinary. Influenza, usually a mild disease, had suddenly become a killer. Over the course of the next 2 months, influenza ran rampant through Haskell County, cutting a swath among the county's residents. At the time, few public health experts viewed influenza as a threat, and local physicians were not required to report outbreaks to the authorities. However, this outbreak was so unusual that the local physician contacted the Public Health Service, sending them a report on the epidemic in his community. Back in Washington, officials viewed the outbreak as unusual enough to merit a mention in the service's weekly report on public health in the United States and abroad, but did not send anyone to investigate. By mid-March, the outbreak appeared to have run its course. A few medical journals published articles on the outbreak, but there was no real discussion of the outbreak. Kansas officials were not especially vigilant at monitoring influenza rates during the spring and summer. The country was at war, and farm boys from isolated communities, such as Haskell County, were on the move. During the spring, a soldier from Haskell County probably brought this new and virulent form of influenza to Camp Funston. By mid-March, Camp Funston was in the throes of an epidemic. More than 1,100 soldiers stationed there were ill, 38 that spring, a highly unusual rate. When the disease reemerged in the fall of 1918, Kansas officials reported cases throughout the state. A later report indicated 1,325 cases the first week of October, probably an underestimate. By the end of the month, 26,800 cases of influenza had been reported and deaths mounted. In Topeka, as elsewhere, hospitals overflowed with influenza patients, and several emergency hospitals were opened. These included hospitals at the Garfield School and the Reed Hotel. 2 infirmaries linked to Washburn College were opened, and the gym became an observation hospital. The secretary of the Kansas State Board of Health took swift action in an attempt to contain the disease. Schools, churches, and theaters were closed, while homes with ill patients were quarantined. In stores, customers were to be provided with 100 square feet to limit close contact, and the number of passengers allowed on streetcars was limited for the same reason. The disease peaked in the state during the late fall. It remained prevalent throughout the state during the winter and spring of 1919. Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Hi, I'm Tim.
This is my wife, Kat, my parents, Jerry and Linda, and my kids, Isaac and Lizzie. My parents traded their first careers to take over my mom's family farm shortly before I was born. When I graduated high school, my parents made me leave to see the world. I started on the corporate track, but soon wondered what farm life might really be like.
Watch our story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
This segment brought to you by the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center in Oakley.
The antelope, or more accurately the pronghorn, is a unique species to North America. Historically, pronghorn ranged throughout the western three-fourths of Kansas and were considered nearly as numerous as bison. But by the late 1800s and early 1900s, unregulated harvest reduced pronghorn to the western border of the state. Trap and transplant efforts were initiated in 1964 in Wallace and Sherman counties. Pronghorn were reintroduced into Barber, Comanche, Ellsworth, Saline, Gove, and Morton counties later. A Flint Hills population of pronghorns was also established in Chase County with releases from 1978 to 1992. The western Kansas reintroductions were successful. There are about 2,000 pronghorn in the westernmost 2 to 3 tiers of counties. A few pronghorn from Barber County and 50 or so remain in the Flint Hills, which was the eastern edge of the historic pronghorn range in the U.S. None remain in Ellsworth and Saline. As the landscape becomes more intensely developed and modified, it becomes more and more difficult to find space for larger animals like pronghorn, and landscape changes such as the loss of native prairie to agriculture, urbanization, and tree growth resulting from fire suppression have not been favorable for pronghorn. Even fences can present a significant barrier to pronghorn movement and survival. As a result of these things, the amount of good pronghorn habitat is limited in Kansas. Even areas with extensive native grassland, like parts of central Kansas that might appear to be suitable for pronghorn, have seen reintroduced animals dwindle or disappear. There is a healthy population of pronghorn in Kansas, but they are primarily restricted to the west. Welcome to Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in Oakley, Kansas on I-70 at exit 76. I-70, after all, is America's Main Street, and we're right here on Main Street for you. Now that I'm an Oakley resident, I still come in almost every day, and I sit and listen to the conversations of the people around me. You know, the guys who are talking about the big elk they just bagged, or the folks who are taking their kid to college for the first time. People just traveling up and down the highway. Real people, just like you and me. And they find just what I find here, real people to serve them. There's history, there's scenery. We hope you'll stop and see us soon. Welcome to Oakley.
Tarwater Farm and Home is a 40-year-old local family-owned business. Clothing for work and play, seeds and feeds, boots, toys for the kids, and tools you'll need for around the house and farm. And a service department to keep them in top running order. It's a big store, so take some time to see what they have for your farm and home. Tarwater's everyday pricing is like others' sale prices. When you need it, they've got it. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
Nevermore do you walk the earth, his spirit rides here still. Roman knows the wild wind blows. Roman knows your legend grows. No one knows if we'll see your lights again.
The land here tells a story. It offers up fossils of extinct beasts, ruins of native villages, farmsteads and battlegrounds. Walk the shore of historic Scott Lake and imagine the native peoples on the hillsides above you. Listen, you can hear their voices on the wind. Discover the secrets of Scott County on the ground where history happened, or in the comfort of the El Cuartelejo Museum and the Jerry Thomas Gallery. I promise you will find an amazing story.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. There's a newly discovered similarity between Amelia Erhardt and the castaway whose partial skeleton was found at Nicamoro in 1940, according to a release from the Erhardt Project. The bones suspected by their discoverer of being Erhardt's were dismissed by British authorities after a doctor judged them to be male. The bones were subsequently lost and the entire incident forgotten until the Erhardt Project discovered the original British files in 1998. The file included the skeletal measurements the doctor made. An evaluation of those measurements by forensic anthropologists led to the conclusion that they were consistent with a female of Erhardt's height and ethnic origin. That was 18 years ago. Recently, in preparing an updated evaluation of the bone measurements, one of the doctors noticed a peculiarity among the arm bones. The forearm was the proportionately longer bone of the arm. Statistically, women born in the late 19th century had an average radius to humerus ratio of 0.73. In other words, if the castaway was a middle-aged, ethnically European woman, she had forearms considerably longer than average. Researchers wondered if Amelia may have had similarly longer than average forearms. To answer that question, we called a forensic imaging specialist, Jeff Glickman. Selecting an historical photo of Amelia, where her bare arms were clearly visible, and working with Dr. Richard Jans to identify the correct points on the shoulder, elbow, and wrist for comparing bone length, Jeff found that Erhardt's humerus to radius ratio was 0.76, virtually identical to the castaway's. The match does not, of course, prove that the castaway was Amelia Erhardt, but it is a significant new data point that tips the scales further in that direction. Amelia was born in Atchison at her grandparents' home in 1897. She and her navigator disappeared while attempting to circle the globe in 1937.
About 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulder sure hurt. I kept waiting and it didn't get better and didn't get better. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over, and it just kept getting better and better. And within 6 weeks I was back digging post holes and doing the other hard work that I'd been doing before the accident. And I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
Highways 40, 83, and I-70 come together right here in Oakley. Roads that lead to businesses, to magnificent rock formations, to scenic vistas, to places where legends were made. Roads that lead us home. Discover Oakley, the gateway to western Kansas.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Back to the barnyard for another versatile plant lesson. This unassuming plant has many names: buffalo gourd, calabazilla, chillicote, coyote gourd, fetid wild pumpkin, Missouri gourd, prairie gourd, stinking gourd, wild gourd, and wild pumpkin. It clings to the roadsides in central and western Kansas and is ideally suited to the plains, having adapted to semi-arid climates and sandy soil. It does not require a lot of rain. One reference said that it is particularly well suited to marginal agricultural lands. According to the website Medicinal Plants of the Southwest, American Indians have used this little gourd for thousands of years. It has been used traditionally in various ways as a food, cosmetic, detergent, insecticide, and ritualistic rattle, said the site. The plant is easily recognized as being a member of the squash or gourd family by the large yellow trumpet bloom common to squash or pumpkins. It grows quickly and with a very long taproot helps hold the soil in place, though some consider it a nuisance. The taproot can be several feet long and weigh over 100 pounds. It has been used for laundry soap and shampoo. The website described medicinal uses as everything from a pain reliever to a dewormer, disinfectant to ulcer cure. As a source of food, the gourd may be cooked like squash when it is young, and the seeds may be roasted or ground into meal when the gourd browns. I pick them to dry and decorate. Since painting gourds with my granny, I have loved their versatility and beauty, and these are perfect for crafting. Like so many things beneath our feet, this common little gourd is not so common after all.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
This is one of my favorite bits that I make. The name I give this bit is a derby bit. I had a roan head horse that was running through the bridle with a chain bit, and I made this bit here. It really worked good on that horse. I sent this bit to Donnie McNeese, who breaks in cattle for Jeff Smith and Ike Cox, and I said, ride this bit on a lot of horses, see how you get along with it. They did. He said, Bull, that's really a good bit. Fits a lot of horses. Then I give this bit to my good friend Brent Wright, who I make bits for. And I said, see how this bit will work on a reining horse. I call him up a couple months later. I said, Brent, how you get along with that bit? And he said, good. He said, you don't need it right this minute, do you? And I said, no. He said, good, because I'm down here in Texas and I just won a big futurity riding that bit. And when Brent got home, he gave me the buckle that he won the futurity with. I'm really proud of that buckle that Brent Wright gave it to me, and also that he got along so good with my bit.
Imagine everything you could ever dream about when it comes to horses. Those dreams come true at the 21st Annual Equipest, coming to Topeka, Kansas in February at the Kansas Expo Center, the largest equine expo in the Midwest with shopping, food, clinics, workshops, and more. World-class trainers, over 100 horses performing throughout the 3 days, displaying a variety of breeds, disciplines, demonstrations, and competitions. Vendors from all over the U.S. and non-stop entertainment. If you love horses, join us at Equipest of Kansas in Topeka, Kansas. Get tickets at equipestofks.com.
PFI Western Store, home of Boot Daddy, proud to be part of Equipest. PFI, located at 65 on Battlefield in Springfield, Missouri. Spend $50 at PFI and get a Boot Daddy hoodie for only $10.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
William F. Cody earned the nickname Buffalo Bill, and he had roots in Kansas. He lived in northeast Kansas as a boy. He was a Pony Express rider, went on to be an Indian scout, created a Wild West show that toured the globe. And out west of Oakley, Kansas, there's a big statue which commemorates how Buffalo Bill got his name. This poem is entitled The Legend of Buffalo Bill. In the late 1860s, as the railroad built west, as part of our nation's destiny made manifest, all those railroad workers needed to eat, and the obvious solution was buffalo meat. William F. Cody hired on with the railroad then to hunt buffalo to provide meat for the men. His shooting demonstrated such excellent skill, his friends started calling him Buffalo Bill. But then they found another man using that name, and you can't have two men called the same, so they made a bet, as cowboys do, to see whose claim to the name was true. They had a hunt to see how many buffalo each could shoot. The one who got the most would win the dispute. They rode west of Oakley and started the hunt. The day ended with William F. Cody in front. The other fellow got 46, which was fine, but William F. Cody shot 69. He won that contest and much, much more, and would be Buffalo Bill Cody forevermore. He formed a Wild West show and toured the globe with wild cowboys and Indians in buffalo robes. He had Annie Oakley, a sharpshooter like they'd never seen. They've performed for the president and even the queen. Now a monument stands on Oakley's west side, showing Buffalo Bill on his famous hunting ride. For in the history of the West, he is riding there still, the legendary showman known as Buffalo Bill. Happy trails.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Harry Walter Colmery was born in 1890 in Braddock, Pennsylvania. He was an industrious young man who worked in his dad's grocery store and had a newspaper route and worked for the Union Pacific Railroad. Harry attended Oberlin College and the University of Pittsburgh Law School. His career was interrupted by America's entry into World War I. During the war, Colmery served in the Army Air Service as an instructor and pursuit pilot. Afterward, Harry moved to Topeka to practice law with John S. Dean. Harry's years in the Army had a big impact on him, and he was an advocate for veterans the rest of his life. He became involved in the American Legion at the local, state, and national levels, serving as national commander. In the years following World War II, the name Harry Colmery was a household word. He was a member of the American Legion's National Legislative Committee and worked to change regulations to allow veterans to be treated at veterans hospitals for non-service related illnesses and to allow for the expansions of the veterans hospital system. During World War II, he was involved in the debate on how to assist the millions of veterans that would be returning to the workforce at the end of the war. Many feared a return to the Great Depression, with men and women who had served their country joining the ranks of the unemployed after they were discharged. Colmery is credited with writing the draft of what became the Serviceman's Readjustment Act of 1944, more popularly known as the GI Bill of Rights. He then worked for its adoption, and President Franklin Roosevelt signed it into law on June 22, 1944. The GI Bill provided books, tuition, and a monthly stipend for veterans who enrolled in colleges and universities. More than 2 million veterans attended college on the GI Bill, and it is estimated that in 1947, half of all college students were veterans. Another 5 million veterans attended vocational schools or participated in on-the-job training opportunities. Other provisions of the GI Bill provide low-interest loans for buying a home and unemployment pay. The Colmery O'Neill Veterans Administration Hospital in Topeka, Kansas is named for him. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy.